with people very distanced and plexiglass shields. And when I coach, I go in 1 hour a week for my quintet. I'm behind a big plexiglass kind of curved thing. And it's great because I'm in a huge rehearsal hall and I'm wearing an N95 mask. So I think, and everybody is so, if I so much as step outside, they all grab their masks and they're, 15, 20, 30 feet away, and so that has been one thing. And we've had a remarkable success actually with no cases, essentially. One, I think, in the school. Yeah, so,
Fantastic.
Yeah,
yeah. And,
we keep hearing about the other schools that are doing this, and we would love to, but Yale, being the kind of place it is with so much science going on, they're just the epidemiologists come in with all these tools, and they say absolutely not. It's like there's just too much dispersal, and so we're just kind of you know waiting patiently for them to give us different instructions. But even in our biggest hall, they won't let us do it.
interesting.
Yeah. So that's great that you can.
I'm grateful because yesterday, the last concert of the semester it was a real high because each group did their own work, and it was thrilling. It was thrilling to hear whether it was Valerie Coleman or a piece by Zemlinsky that I'd never heard before,
Wow.
or Tomasi. It was really, really great. But again, Rice has been so strict, and everyone is tested every week, and it's very, very planned. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Speaking of chamber music, Carol Winsent is attending, and she offered that one of the things she does, well, she had a question and she wanted to offer that one of the things she does, talking about your use of FaceTime and Zoom and CleanFeed, is she will ask the student to mute and they will play together, and then but they'll switch vice versa, so they get some sort of satisfaction of hearing the other person kind of live, and that seems to help. But her question to you was, she was curious about the percentage of time that you use FaceTime rather than Zoom or vice versa, and using those with clean feed, and if you find that I guess helps lessen somewhat.
So like Teresa has more experience with all that than we do, than
I'm
I
not
do certainly.
at all.
I use Zoom for more advanced students almost exclusively because the sound is better if you get the settings right. And I also had just something to say about that. I teach a performance class, so everyone's giving live performances on Zoom, and we don't have any trouble. But I have to say, my number one piece of advice is that an Ethernet cable is your friend, because if you're hardwired, that just eliminates that issue. I mean, almost everybody has internet that's fast enough if it's hardwired. It's when it's Wi-Fi that it becomes a problem. So for a $10-15 Ethernet cable, it solves a lot of issues. And then I just one other comment was, and so FaceTime I mostly use for either younger students or students that just need more, that aren't comfortable with this kind of, okay, I'm going to talk, now you can talk, and back, because it's so stiff on Zoom often, and there are some students that just emotionally can't handle that, especially right now. Sometimes I feel like I can't, and so then we'll switch over to FaceTime, and I have a couple that go back and forth depending on what we're working on. Because FaceTime, we can almost just even play together at the same time. It's so much less latency that we can almost be like we're talking in person. And then one other comment about something you said, Ransom, about, well, both of you, I think, about these multi-video projects that students are doing. We've been doing those with our flute choirs, but one huge word of advice I have for everybody is that if you only want to have to do the audio, so all they have to do is worry about recording the audio, you can record the video on Zoom, put it into gallery view, and record it on full screen, and all of you play through together. You have the video done, multi-screen video, and then just put the audio on, attached to it. It saves so much time than having the students have to record video and audio and then detach the audio, all that stuff. So that was a big thing we found halfway through that helped a lot.
No, that's a really good idea because it also just puts people in windows automatically, which if you have to do that by yourself, I mean, I don't do it, but somebody's been helping. It's a huge, long process.
Yeah,
That's a very good idea. I'm
saves a
gonna write
lot.
that down too. I'm writing all this stuff down.
Lovely. Um, Thinking about FaceTime and how you will use FaceTime for some students and Zoom for others. Question to all of you: how have you found that you've had to structure your lessons differently from being in library, or have you had to change structure at all?
Leon,
Well, I would say in this unusual time of COVID, I spend a little bit more time at the beginning of the lesson with just, how are you? What's going on? What have you been doing? That sort of thing, instead of, okay, let's hear that Biche etude right now.
right.
Just, I think that, especially since you're not with the person at all, in most cases, it's very important to support the human element of what we do as teachers. And just since it's a little different, you're not right with the person, so you don't see the body language. You have to really try to figure out what's going on to make it a productive session, how much to push, how much not to push. And that's why just a little bit of talking at the beginning of the lesson, maybe more than if we were in the same space at the same time, can be very productive, I feel.
It's interesting. I never really thought about it, but except, I knew that I was feeling like I needed human contact. And so, yeah, I do exactly the same thing. I start every lesson with how are you? What's going on? What happened with this? Um, and it's funny. I mean, in certain ways, it's better teaching this way,
I
which
agree.
is weird.
I totally agree. I'm astonished to say this, but it's like being confronted with the other person.
Right.
You must be focused. And I've
Right.
had students say, I really like what we've been doing. We started with them always recording their lesson material before lessons so that I would then spend the time. It took twice as long, but I listened to what I heard. This is before Zoom improved so much. And so I was writing notes and then we would work on things, obviously, during the lesson. Now I don't do that because I don't find it necessary. But my students said to me yesterday when I asked them uh, how they had felt, they know that I'm doing this right now. One person said, it's been so positive for me, especially having to record for you and listen. And some are still continuing to do that. He said he felt really empowered by this particular procedure, exactly, which was lovely to hear.
That's yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I do find that as you say, it puts both people on on their best behavior in a certain way. They're like the student is well prepared because they know that I'm going to be in their face, literally, and and I can't let my mind wander either.
Oh,
So I found it's been very good. I mean, some of them I've never ever talked to in person, which is weird, like a new student. I mean, yes, they came in audition and that was it, thank you very much. And then they got in and here we are. So I look forward to actually meeting a couple of people.
I have a great experience with that, or this few students I've had from around the world, especially with world flutes, that will take lessons like this for a while, and then maybe they come to New York and we listen. I'm always surprised that I'm only 5 feet tall, like on the. But love that you both say that we're spending time just talking and just being there, because part of why we're doing what we do as music is to feed the soul, and our souls need so much feeding right now. They need so much, and it's really helping everybody to have that and that time with us. And I do the same thing. I take a lot of time, and there are days when we're just silly. We do things like have you found all the video filters? You can be a bear. Classes.
Oh,
That's fun.
that looks fun. Where are they? Where are those?
Yeah, where is that?
Out is down. That's on the newest version of Zoom, but it's down by the stop video button.
Okay.
Choose video filter.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I've had my students teach me how to do like virtual backgrounds and then how do you do a screenshot, and they love it. I'm just very honest. I don't know a thing about this. I can do one or two things. And so it's really fun. It's
Yeah.
really.
I know one of the attendees asked, what's the preferred Zoom, I guess update, and it's always, I think the answer, and Teresa just showed with those tricks. You always want to have the most up-to-date version of Zoom, because that's where you're going to get the best quality. Kind of feeding into that, another question that from an attendee is asking, are there any hardware basic speakers, headphones, other types of equipment that you think, like, yes, this is what I have found to be the best, maybe equipment that you require your students to have as well?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, that's fine. You first.
We we came to the conclusion at Yale that enough people had the blue Yeti blue Yeti, that we would just kind of make that the standard for all the studios. And so I got one for myself, and it seems good. I mean, for the price, it has a really good sound. Also has a really nice features that you can plug your headphones right into it, so that if somebody's too loud or too soft, you can just fix it right by just turning a dial. And someplace I was giving a class last week. University of Miami, and I said, "Does anybody have any questions?" He said, "Yeah, what microphone are you using?" And I said, "Is that because it's good or because it's bad?" He said, "It's really good. What is it?" So I think it's a good choice, and it's only like $120 or something.
Wow.
To get that kind of quality.
And there are a lot of them available on eBay right now, because when we first locked down, a lot of people were getting microphones and everything and then turned around and went to sell them. Now, they might be buying them back now, but the Blue Yeti is what I use as well. And I've found, because these sound checks that we do for these concerts, about 3/4 of it are pro concerts, and then there's also a youth series. So I've sound checked kids with no equipment, and we've gotten everybody to the point with the Zoom settings and with everything that they can perform live. I found that the best settings are kind of the easiest. People who have interfaces and all this kind of complicated things find a lot more trouble with Zoom. It's possible, but you really have to be, there's a lot more fuss. Just a USB mic plugged into the old laptop seems to be the best thing. And I love the Blue Yeti. I feel like everybody sounds good with it.
Yep, I agree.
The only issue that I've really come across that I haven't been able to solve is if you don't have an external mic of some sort, the fan noise, especially on older laptops, is unavoidable.
Yeah. In fact, I sold my, like 4 months after I got it, I sold my MacBook Air because the fan was so loud that no one could hear what I was saying or anything.
Leon, you were going to say something? Yes, please.
My microphone is an AudioTechnica, which also is not particularly expensive. It has been very good. Like the Blue Yeti, it does have the capacity to accept headphones. You can plug them right in and adjust. I have to say, I've just switched to AirPods recently because I was hating the heaviness of the headphones, and also I'd pick up my flute to play, and I'd have to avoid the cord of the. I just felt like a klutz. I feel like a klutz anyway with technology. I wanted to look cool like my students, and so I got them. I'm not wearing them now, but it really has changed things for me. I feel lighter, shall we say.
Well, I agree, except that